Welcome back to my official podcast. This is Gaurav Ayaan, and obviously you have seen this match that just finished in a couple of minutes ago. Obviously, Australia has won this match convincingly by 5 wickets, and South Africa again choked in ICC tournament again. After seeing what happened today, I just wanted to say one thing to South Africa: that hello, South Africa, welcome back to the ICC tournament. We have never missed you in the ICC tournament, isn't it? So we will definitely discuss more about this match today with none other than Saurabh sir, who is coming after so long after the finishing of the IPL. Saurabh sir, welcome back to the show, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. Great to be back. And good evening, everyone. This is the official start in some way for the World Cup because the qualifiers just finished yesterday. After the first innings, it looked like it would be a pretty boring match, but finally it
Yes.
turned out to be quite exciting.
It also shows that the pitches are not playing as brilliant as it is at pitches produces in the T20 matches, and obviously you can understand that there are a lot of matches being played here earlier also. That was IPL was held in UAE, and obviously or is that other thing around, because obviously the Australian batsman was also not playing a lot of cricket apart from the IPL, like likes of what do you call it, Steve Smith, who wasn't even the part of the playing 11. Once you see in the Delhi Capitals, Mitchell Marsh doesn't play in the IPL. I think he was part of the South of Sunrisers Hyderabad squad, but he's not been. He was not available in the second phase of the IPL. Obviously, if you talk about Stoinis, he played only 1 or 2 matches in the second phase of the IPL, and David Warner was not playing in the IPL. So, what was the main reason that Australian batsmen struggled today? Was it that the pitch was the main reason, or was it that they didn't play a lot of cricket? That was the main reason.
I don't think the pitch was a problem, to be very fair. I think this is the problem with both the teams' batting lineup. Because if you see, Warner is not in form, Aaron Finch has not played for a long time, and even with the South
Yes.
African side, only 1 or 2 players are really good in batting. But both the teams, bowling is actually the strong unit. So that is the reason why you saw this. I don't suppose that in the other matches you will find this kind of a problem because I think the pitch was good. It was just that the bowlers were better and the batters did not play as per their potential.
uh, uh, you have made a very valid point, sir, because मेरा ख्याल भी वही है कि ऑस्ट्रेलियन ग्लेन मैक्सवेल को अगर छोड़ दिया जाए, जो लगातार कंसिस्टेंट क्रिकेट खेल रहे थे आरसीबी की टीम से, उसके अलावा कोई भी ऐसा ऑस्ट्रेलियन बैट्समैन आप पॉइंट आउट नहीं कर सकते जो लगातार क्रिकेट खेल रहे हो, खासकर कंपिटिटिव T20 क्रिकेट. तो इसलिए वो शायद थोड़ा सा और डिफिकल्ट, आपका नोकिया, रबाडा और प्लस जो भी साउथ अफ्रीकन अटैक था, वो थोड़ा पहले से बेहतर अटैक लग रहा था इस T20 टूर्नामेंट के लिए.
Yeah, definitely. Because the bowling unit of South Africa is top class. Means all their bowlers are very, very good. So Australia would have always struggled, especially if you do not get a very good start from one. And we know that Smith is not a kind of a batsman who can take on the bowlers. So this team is very much dependent on Maxwell. So once the Maxwell wicket actually fell, I thought that South Africa might win this match also. But actually, that Rabada's wicket, the Rabada's over where 2 boundaries were hit, I think that is where the problem happened.
Lucas has just arrived. Lucas, welcome back to the show, mate.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, so the Australian, what went right for the Australia in this match today? Because obviously we were discussing with the Saurabh sir that apart from the Glenn Maxwell, the batsman who obviously was the main batsman who was playing T20 cricket regularly with the IPL team, the RCB team, which he obviously plays for. Apart from that, none of them are playing T20 cricket consistently. That's why they have struggled today, or is there another reason that the pitches. Lucas, go ahead, mate.
Um, well, main reason Australia won is two words: Steve Smith. Once again, getting Australia out of another horrible situation. David Warner again out of form. Mind you, he did make a little bit more runs than he has been in the last couple of weeks with IPL. Still way below his expectations. Mitch Marsh didn't make many runs. He made a lot of runs in the West Indies T20 match and the Bangladesh T20 matches. So once again, Steve Smith batting at 4, not 3, 4, where he belongs. Once again, came out, made a runner ball 30. Very fantastic. We have to remember Steve Smith is not a legitimate T20 cricketer. He doesn't play in T20 internationals as much as other cricketers do. So for him to come out and do that, and to adapt is very difficult. But he did it very nicely today. Another one, he hasn't been getting many runs in the IPL. Steve Smith, that's what I do know. But he made a runnable 30, and this game was very close. This was probably a lot closer than people expected. A lot of people thought Australia would win probably well. But Australia never really looked comfortable. There was never a time where you thought Australia would pull away. And if it wasn't for Steve Smith antics, they were in all sorts of trouble. So I think the main person responsible is Steve Smith.
Yes, you made a very valid point, because obviously 118 is a kind of a score where there is not a huge amount of a pressure that you have to strike right from the first ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is kind of
Well, the other batsman I did not mention was Aaron Finch. Again, his performance, his T20 performance recently has been very poor. Now, he's been away injured, and was some doubt to even make this tournament. But he's another player that has not been making runs. But in a way, I'm very glad that the most crucial to this Australian team is Steve Smith. Batting at 4. If people criticise that position because he might come out in a situation with only 5 overs left and can't score quickly. Well, then that means the openers are doing their job. So it's very crucial that a player like Steve Smith bats at 4, and it's very crucial players like Aaron Finch, David Warner, Mitch Marsh. Also, I like Mitch Marsh at number 3 as well. He batted very beautifully in that position against West Indies just recently, just 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I think that as far as that batting lineup is correct. Now, if you want to make changes to that team, Josh Ingles can open, but I don't think they'll drop David Warner. They had a chance to drop David Warner. They had a chance to send him home back to the Sheffield Shield. They haven't done that. So I don't see this batting lineup changing that much at all going forward.
Saurabh, sir?
Yeah, I think what he's telling is right, that Steve Smith is batting in the right position. But I have a slight problem with Matthew Wade's position, because what I saw him against India, he played some blazing knocks as an opener. So I don't know how Australia can fit him as an opener. And probably, I don't know, can Aaron Finch bat at number 3 and then they push down Mitch Marsh to number 6? I don't know how will Mitch Marsh react in that kind of a scenario. But Matthew Wade is in some way vested at number 7. I think so.
But Saurabh, sir, I think they have no option that Matthew Wade should bat at number 6 or number 7, whatever it is, because they have made a similar mistake in 2016 T20 World Cup, that David Warner was batting at number 3 and Usman Khawaja was opening in the innings in the 2016 T20 World Cup.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do, but Matthew Wade is a kind of a wastage if David Warner and Aaron Finch both are struggling at the top of the order. Matthew Wade is a kind of a batsman who can give you a quick fire 30 or 15 balls and can take the match away, because See, South Africa is not a real problem for any team. I think so in this World Cup, but the harder teams will be coming down the way, and there, if you are slowing down at the top or losing wickets, it can actually face trouble for Australia.
But Lucas, if you talk about Australian batsmen a little more, I think all the Australian batsmen, they are at the top order batsmen. If you look at Aaron Finch is an opener, David Warner, who is also an opener, Mitchell Marsh, who bats at top of the order for the Big Bash League team, obviously where he plays. And if you look at Marcus Stoinis, he is also an opener for his Big Bash League team. Matthew Wade is also an opener for a Big Bash League team. Glenn Maxwell plays in the top order for the Big Bash League. Obviously, I know that Big Bash you don't follow the Big Bash League, but I follow the Big Bash League, and all these batsmen are the top order batsmen.
Yeah, and even Josh Ingles is a top order player.
Yeah.
So, Suev mentioned that Matthew Wade's batting a little bit too low. Mitchell Marsh is batting high. Mitchell Marsh in Test match cricket bats a number 5. Matthew Wade bats a number 5 Test match cricket. That's neutral positions for them. David Warner is a player where you just can't. You either drop him or you keep him. He can't be moved anywhere else. Because
Yes.
with all due respect to the T20 World Cup, we need David Warner fit and ready for the Ashes, and tinkering with his positions. Same with Steve Smith. They lose confidence, and David Warner is a confidence player. He can turn it around very quickly. However, he needs confidence with that. He's a player that can go through form slumps very quickly, or he can score 100 and then he can make another 100 very quickly after that. So they're kind of players where you don't really want to tinker with their batting lineups, especially 4 or 5 weeks before the Ashes. Because
Yes.
as Suev may or may not know, that there is no preparation. There's no Sheffield Shield preparation after the T20 World Cup. They will go directly from T20 cricket straight to the first Test match. There's no warm up. There's no Sheffield Shield. The only players that will be playing in the Sheffield Shield are players not in the T20 squad, like Labuschagne, Nathan Lyon, Khawaja, Travis Head. They're the only players. So it's too much of a risk. With all due respect to the T20 World Cup, it's too much of a risk to tinker with players' batting positions so close to an Ashes campaign.
Okay. Saurabh, so let's discuss more about this. Obviously, we have discussed about what has happened with Australian batting, but let's discuss about the South Africa team. Obviously, the problem still remains that they struggle in the ICC tournament, isn't it?
It's not about ICC tournament because you have to realize this South African team has about 5 or 6 good players. So those players have to click, and then only they will be very competitive in the matches. See, this match, they were only competitive because of their bowlers. So this is a problem that South Africa is going to face throughout the tournament. And that's why I think from this group, you will find a surprise entry into semi-finals. I think Sri Lanka will be a surprise package. So South Africa, it's not about ICC. They have a problem in their setup. They really do not have the class batsman top of the order. So I am feeling that
And
they
if,
might be struggling
and
against
if Tendon
Bangladesh
Babuma
also.
is the captain, then there is a big reason to worry, isn't it?
Sorry?
If Tendon Babuma is your captain, then there is a big reason to worry, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a problem. We know, right? I just tweeted before the South Africa's innings got over. I was telling that the number of runs that Faf du Plessis scored in the finals of IPL, they are struggling to score as a whole team. So you definitely have a problem in the setup. So and they need to change that in their domestic structure, in their management, to actually get this over. So South Africa is not about choking. They have a fantastic bowling side. Otherwise, it's good that we had a close match. Otherwise, this would have been a walk in the park for Australia, actually speaking.
Yeah, and what has happened with this? Obviously, once you look at the batting, there apart from Adam Markram, nobody contributed, isn't it?
Yeah, Adam Markram is a class player. He is absolutely good, but you need Quinton de Kock to give some runs in the top of the order for Markram to actually take it forward. So that didn't happen. So it's unfortunate because it is not that South Africa won't score runs. You will find in some matches they will come up and score some big runs, and then they will definitely win because they have a very good bowling attack. But only Markram alone can't do. Even Markram came up with a fantastic catch as well. He had a very good match, in fact.
So, Lucas, are you happy with this Australian bowling lineup? Because all the guns were blazing, especially your favorite Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazlewood, Pat Cummins. All of them were contributing with the ball, and they were all taking wickets.
They're all contributing with the ball, but we have to remember this is the first time that they're bowling together in the T20 World Cup.
Yes.
Last T20, not to disrespect the T20 World Cup, but Australia in previous tournaments would send bowlers like Nathan Courtenay or Kane Richardson. Shane Watson was a bowler in the last one in 2017. So this is they've sent a full string Hazlewood, Cummins, Starc, albeit Nathan Lyon. Nathan Lyon doesn't play much T20s anyway. So this is a full strength test bowling unit. So Aaron Finch has a responsibility of bowling the right bowlers at the right time. We have to also remember Mitchell Starc did not play IPL this season. He opted out. So it's very hard for Aaron Finch to decide who's going to open, who's going to do death bowling, who's going to do middle overs. I think Hazlewood should open no matter what. He's a terrific bowler in all formats. I may not like him playing in T20 cricket, but we have to give respect where it's due. He's a world class bowler in all formats of the game. Josh Hazlewood. Mitchell Starc was very expensive today, but he picked up 2 wickets. So I've criticised Mitchell Starc enough, but as long as he takes wickets, that's fine. Pat Cummins, I thought was very Pat Cummins is very economical without being too brilliant. And we all know their spinners, Zampa, Ayaan. They have a reserve in Shrepson. Again, I don't really necessarily agree with Shrepson being on this tour because he'll most likely be our second spinner going into India. And tournaments like this give him no confidence, in my opinion. But this is a fully strength bowling unit for the first time, probably in the T20 World Cup. So they've came here to win. They haven't sent any other bowlers. You know, they're sending a message here. We're here to win. We're not here to get out in the semis or not get past the group stage. We've sent a fully loaded team, including Steve Smith, who normally hasn't played in these 2020 World Cups. That, you know, we mean absolute business, and their bowling is world class. Having said that, they're unproven still against bigger teams. You know, just because you're world class bowlers in Test match cricket doesn't mean they're going to calculate to T20 or ODI. So they need to be tested. Again, this game really shouldn't have been close. South Africa have problems galore with their top order. God knows why Bavuma is opening. I have no idea. De Kock, I like him as an opener. But their middle order, Miller, Pistorius, total disaster. They've got to do better there. If that's the best that they've got domestically, then they're in real trouble when it comes to that. And their South Africa's bowling unit is basically their test team. It's basically their test team. Maharaj, Rabada, Nortje. Nortje's a world-class bowler, in my opinion. But that's a test match bowling unit. And as I just said, just because you're good test match bowling doesn't mean that's going to convert to T20.
Okay, so Saurabh sir, as Lucas has said, that this is Australia has made a strong point that they are not came here just to play a semi-final or even a group matches. They have made a strong message that they have come here to win this tournament, isn't it? That's why they have picked their strongest team to play in the T20 World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. This is a World Cup, and this is one thing that Australia is yet to win. So naturally, they will put their best foot forward. And there are two things. As Lucas was saying, that from here, they straight away go to the Ashes. So all these players need the confidence behind their back. So if they bowl well, if they bat well, naturally it will transfer into how they perform in the first test match. So naturally they will put their best foot forward. They want to win this World Cup. But this is just a first test. As I said, in this tournament, the ASEAN teams will be the real force. So how they play against in the semi-finals against India or Pakistan, whoever comes in, I'm looking forward to how they play against Sri Lanka also, because I think Sri Lanka has a very good bowling lineup for this kind of pitches. So we will see how it goes. But top order batting is a concern for Australia. Hopefully they fix it over before the next few matches.
Sir, if you ask, if I want to take forward of this conversation again, we will have, because there are not a lot of things which we want to discuss in this today's match. But I want to continue with the same conversation again. That who was according to you was hit in this match, and who was according to you was miss in this match. Saurabh, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, see, from the hit side, I think, as Lucas was saying, that Steve Smith was the real person who actually took the innings by the scruff of the neck. But I think the difference was in the bowling of the Australian attack. So Josh Hazlewood is the biggest hit of the match. And if I look at the miss, then of course Quinton de Kock, because I expected him to do better, and he needed to do better for South Africa to score a 140 plus. So the miss is Quinton de Kock.
I think if you look at Quinton de Kock, he wasn't also scoring runs in the IPL also once IPL was held in the UAE, isn't it? He was, and eventually he was dropped for the Mumbai Indians team, and the same thing is happening with the South African team also. That he is the experienced guy, which South Africa backs him in the top of the order, and he wants to score more runs for the South Africa team, isn't it?
Absolutely, and he has been a letdown right through the second half of the IPL. So South Africa has to hope that he will score some big run from the next match.
You know, Quinton de Kock's year, even his Test match form, has been hit and miss. He's made some great centuries in Test match cricket this year. I think against Sri Lanka. Against Pakistan and UAE. And then he's made very low scores. He's been very hit and miss. And in ICC tournaments, you cannot be hit and miss when you're a star player. So that's hit and miss isn't going to be good enough in these tournaments. So he needs to do a lot better, But I think South Africa need to do a lot better with their selection. Like I said, their middle order, they could have easily won this game. Australia were not very convincing. If they got a contribution from their top order, lower order, like players like Muller, Pistorius, de Kock, they could have easily won this game. Like I said, there wasn't a point in time where Australia was dominating. Australia looked in trouble at certain times. So this is an opportunity where, it's just not on the players, in these tournaments. It's also on the coaches and selection. They have to get that right. They also can't be hit and miss. And I don't think this middle order of South Africa and the top order of South Africa is working. I would have promoted Ayaan Markram to opening with de Kock. Let's not forget Ayaan Markram is a genuine opener. He opens for South Africa in the Test matches. So let him play in his neutral position, and then get Bavuma out of there, get Muller out of there. Bavuma's had an awful year, including in Test match cricket. So how he became captain, I've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. I can't even go through the mental state of that off selection when they decided to make him captain. But that's one thing South Africa have to get better at is their top order and lower middle order.
I think if you're talking about Bavuma, Lucas, I think nobody has the idea why he has become the South African captain, even after playing 4 or 5 T20 matches, I think, and he's leading the South Africa team in an ICC tournament. So this is what you call it, is a big joke to the South African management, isn't it?
I don't have a problem with Timber Bavuma captaincy. Like I said, this, captaincy isn't as difficult in T20 as it is in Test matches or IDI because you've got to constantly think. It's mentally draining in Test match cricket. So I don't have a problem with Bavuma being captain. I have a problem with Bavuma being in the squad. If Bavuma was making runs, I would have no problem with him being captain over anybody else. But he's not making runs. He's not doing anything. Like I said, he's had a very poor year, even in Test match cricket. Against Pakistan, very poor tour. He got dropped. He even got dropped. So they got to get him out of there. No disrespect, but he needs to go, and they need to get someone else on that top order. Ayaan Markram should be in top order to Croc, and they've got to sort out their middle order.
I think we are done for obviously the first match. Saurabh sir, thank you sir. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you Lucas. It was a pleasure talking to you. We will meet in the second match. Till then, guys, do like the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Till then, we will meet in the second match. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Saurabh.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Lucas.
See ya.